Hello everyone, I'm Akanksha
And I'm Shreya.
and we welcome you to Hindu Yuva's Diwali program.
Diwali, also known as Deepavali, is a Hindu festival of light and marks the victory of good over evil and light over darkness.
So to celebrate Diwali, Hindu Yuva has organized this evening with storytelling, performances and a Ramayana quiz. We hope that you all enjoy these events and help us bring the spirit we hope that you all enjoy these events and help us bring the spirit of Diwali to Purdue.
To begin our event, we have a Ramayana narration by Vidyadhara ji. Vidyadhara is a PhD student in mechanical engineering who has learned Sanskritam for over 15 years under Vidushi Anantalakshmi Natarajan and taught for around 6 years. During the same time, he also took an interest in Sanskrita Kavya, Itihasa, and Puranas, on which he occasionally gives talks in person and via videos on a YouTube channel under his name. Please welcome Vidyadhar ji.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Ram Ram Ram. I'm Vidyadhara and thank you for introducing me. First of all, I wish everyone a very happy Deepavali. It is one of the more famous festivals that we celebrate in India and all around the world, and it is a festival of lights. So I have been given this opportunity to talk a little bit on this occasion, and the entire talk is divided into multiple parts. First, we'll look mainly at what is Deepavali, why do we celebrate it, what is the significance behind it, before we move to a different topic about Ramayana. Beginning with the story of Deepavali, why it is celebrated and what is the history behind the celebrations. The story is told in one of our scriptures, which is the Bhagavata Purana. The story starts with one of Vishnu's incarnation. So Vishnu is the primordial deity in Hinduism, and he is told to have taken many incarnations. So one of the forms that was taken by Vishnu is the Varaha form, wherein he has taken a form of a boar. In this incarnation, Vishnu is told to have lifted Mother Earth from an ocean to protect her from a being, a demon called Hiranyaksha. In this incarnation, Vishnu in the form of Varaha and Bhudevi, the goddess Earth, had a child, and that child was called Narakasura. His name was Naraka, and he was a demon, hence he was called Narakasura. This demon Narakasura ruled over a province called Pragjyotishapura, which is in the current state of Assam, is the belief of many people, many scholars. So Narakasura obtained several boons that made him very powerful. And the Bhagavata Purana says that he was so powerful that Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu together would not have been able to defeat Narakasura. So strong was his reign. But Narakasura had a very peculiar quality to himself. He had the quality of stealing very specific things from very specific people. Aditi is the mother of all the gods. She wears a very powerful and strong, very power-filled earrings. Narakasura, what he did was he stole those earrings. Next, Varuna is another god, and he has a very auspicious umbrella. Narakasura stole this umbrella. He then went on to kidnap and hold captive 16,000 women. It was for another sacrifice that he was thinking of, where he wanted to present 16,000 unmarried women to his sacrifice. As he was doing this, his next target was the elephant that Indra rides, which was Airavata. So when Indra came to know of this, he went to Krishna. So by the time Narakasura's atrocities had reached this point, it was the time where Krishna Avatara had come into place, and Krishna was ruling the city of Dwaraka. So Indra, having realized that Narakasura's eyes are now on his elephant, came to seek the help of Krishna, and he came and asked Krishna to vanquish Narakasura and hence bring peace to the world. One of the boons that Narakasura received was that since he is the son of Mother Earth, unless an amsha, an essence of Bhumi itself, comes to destroy him, he shall not be killed. And as a result, Satyabhama, one of the wives of Krishna, is told to be a Bhugarbha Sanjate. She was told to be born with an amsha of Bhumi. So Krishna, along with Satyabhama, decided to go and fight with Narakasura. So the fight went on for several days, but in the end, as you can see here, Satyabhama was the source by which Krishna gained the power to vanquish Narakasura. And these are some paintings that are present, that have been stored in different parts of the world. The painting on the right there is the painting in the Met Museum. That is a part of our painting culture as well. So once having killed Narakasura, the chaotic aspect that was present in the world was eradicated. And also, now the problem was there were 16,000 unmarried women who were still captive in Narakasura's palace. And Krishna, after having killed Narakasura, freed those 16,000 women. Having freed those 16,000 women, many of them had been in this palace for several years. And some of them had aged already, some of them were still young. And they all needed some sort of benefit, some sort of moksha from Krishna. And Krishna on this day gave moksha and salvation to all those 16,000 souls. And hence, on this day, the darkness of Narakasura ended and the light, which is the vanquishing of Narakasura, came into picture. And hence, Bhagavata Purana says that Chaturdashyam Deepotsave. So on the 14th day, when Narakasura was killed, shall be celebrated as Naraka Chaturdashi, and following this, the light that emanated by killing this demon shall be celebrated with the Deepotsava, lighting of lamps, which eventually became Deepevali that we celebrate so very commonly all around the world. While this is one story that is presented in Bhagavata Purana, there are several other stories that also present itself, which bring the significance of Deepavali further. So there are several rivers in the world which flow in different parts of the world, and all of them have their own importance and prominence. But among all the rivers, one of the most prominent and holy rivers is the Ganga river, Ganges, and she's called Tripathaga. So Ganga is one river who originated from the Kamandalu, the vessel of Brahma, who washed the feet of Vishnu when he took the Vamana avatar. It is another incarnation of Vishnu. So when Vamana lifted his leg to capture the entire Akasha Mandala, the space, then Brahma worshipped his foot with the water from his Kamandalu, from his vessel, which was Ganga. Later on, this Ganga came to the earth and was captured by the mated hairs, the jata of Shiva, and then she was led to flow on the earth as Ganga Nadi that we worship today. So she has gone through the three stages, the Trimurtis. She has been in contact with all the Trimurtis, and hence she is considered to be one of those divine rivers whom we all worship. And if you are familiar with some of the customs in Bharat Desham, the day before or in the morning of the Naraka Chaturdashi, we clean all the vessels and then we fill water anew into all those vessels. The reason being, it is told that on the day of Naraka Chaturdashi, any river, any water that you have, if you pray, there is a shloka, Gange cha Yamune chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. So if you chant this shloka and you bathe in that water, it is told that the water, wherever be it the Babash river, be it Narmada, be it Kaveri, that river assumes the form of Ganga. So it's essentially bringing Ganga to your homes and having the bath, because being in different parts of the world, not all of us have the opportunity to have Ganga Snanam. But on this Naraka Chaturdashi day, it is told that whatever be the water, if you invoke this shloka and then have a bath, the qualities of Ganga are imbibed in that water, and you are told to have Ganga Snanam. So that is another beautiful indication why we celebrate Naraka Chaturdashi. A very commonly known reason for celebrating this festival again is on the 10th day of Navaratri. We celebrate the victory of Rama over Ravana, and after that Rama eventually left Lanka, came back to Ayodhya, and to welcome him, the people lit lamps all over the city of Ayodhya to welcome him. Though Ramayana does not specifically mention Deepevali in its texts, there is one particular reference where Shatrughna, one of the brothers of Rama, he orders all the people to light lamps and welcome Rama. So they don't celebrate a separate festival, but they light lamps and then welcome Rama, which probably is what is taken as the reference for Deepavali. But that is the only reference we have in Ramayana of lighting lamps to welcome Rama. But that is also a very commonly assumed reason for celebrating Deepavali. So having now spoken about Deepavali, we have understood one of the major reasons why we celebrate Deepavali. Different parts of India celebrate Deepavali in different ways. Some people celebrate it for 3 days, some people celebrate it for 5 days. So the reasons of the following days, that is, Naraka Chaturdashi is considered in the Puranas, they have given us a specific date when Naraka Chaturdashi is celebrated. Following this, in some parts of India, after having vanquished Narakasura, when Krishna came back, his sister Subhadra welcomed him and worshipped him, and that is what is celebrated as Bhai Dooj in different parts of the world. And after this, the rishis also have suggested that we should worship Lakshmi on these days to invoke her grace and bestow wealth and prosperity to all of us. And that is the reason why we do Lakshmi Puja also during Deepavali. So the following days have different customs and different reasons for being celebrated, but the main occasion of Naraka Chaturdashi and the new moon following that are pretty much well defined in all our scriptures. Now, having spoken a little bit about Deepavali, Deepavali, as stated before, is very closely spoken parallelly along with Ramayana, because as mentioned before, this was the time after the victory of Rama over Ravana and his return back to Ayodhya. So I would like to take the next few minutes of my talk to talk a little bit about Ramayana, which is one of the most famous itihasas. So it is a historic event that is captured by a very great sage. So the next part of this talk will talk about Ramayana Vaibhavam, the greatness of this work called Ramayana. So just to give a little bit of a factual context and what this work is about and what it contains, we'll look at some facts. First of all, it is called Adi Kavyam. So the way the Hindu literary works came into picture or being is that it initially started off as mantras, but later on, Valmiki, the composer of Ramayana, is the first person to have written a work in poetry. So we have various sorts of poetry. We have sonnets in English. We have various meters in Sanskritam. So he was the first person to have put words into poetry rather than prose or mantras. So hence this work of Ramayana is called Adi Kavyam, the first poem, and this Kavi is called Adi Kavi, the first poet. The Ramayana is segregated into 7 cantos, like it has 7 chapters in it, and they're called Kandas. And some of the Kandas are very familiar. The names are also probably familiar to most of you. Bala Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Yuddha Kanda, Uttara Kanda. So these are the Kandas that come in order in the Ramayana. The next aspect is that there are 24,000 verses. So the entire Ramayana consists of 24,000 verses. The beauty here is there are various mantras that are very important to all of us. I think the most famous mantra is Tat Saviturvareniyam. We know the following. It is not supposed to be told as a mantra in public, so I'm telling it as aksharas. So this mantra is a very sacred mantra in our culture. And what is it called? Gayatri mantra. Again, the next part of the talk will involve a little bit of communication back and forth. So if you give back some answers, we can continue with the talk smoothly. So as mentioned, it is told to be Gayatri mantra, but here is a small understanding that we can bring about here. So now Deepavali marks the beginning of the winter season, and already we are seeing the cold starting outside. So in order to not feel the wrath of Surya Deva, sun god, and not be hit with the harsh winter, we have to first worship Surya Deva. And we know that Rama comes in the lineage of Surya Vamsha. Surya is the god, the sun god, and he travels in a chariot. Again, from our perspective, the sun travels from east to west, though from a science point, we are going around the sun. From our perspective on earth, the sun is traveling. And our Puranas and Itihasas, they state that Surya drives a chariot which has one wheel, and that chariot is called Samvatsara. Samvatsara in Sanskrit means year. So the chariot of Surya is called Samvatsara, and his charioteer is called Aruna. The chariot is drawn by 7 horses. According to science and some scholars, the 7 horses indicate the 7 colors that we see in the visible spectrum. But the Puranas, they say that each of those horses are a different sort of meter. So poetry is written in meters. Chandas is what we call. The first horse is called Gayatri Chandas. And even in the Bhagavad Gita, if you have read the 10th chapter, Gayatri Chandasamaham, says Krishna. So among the chandas, among the meters, I am Gayatri Chandas. So Gayatri is a meter which contains 8 aksharas in 3 lines. So there are 8 aksharas, making 24 aksharas. So if you count the number of aksharas in Tat Saviturvareniyam, there are 8 aksharas, 24 aksharas. Tat Purushaya Vidmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudra Prachodayat. If we count that, 8 into 3, 24. If you see again, Narayana Vidmahe. So all these have 8 into 3 aksharas. All these are called Gayatri mantras. But each one is given a specific name. Rudra Gayatri is Tat Purushaya Vidmahe. Vishnu Gayatri is Narayana Vidmahe. Surya Gayatri is Tat Saviturvareniyam. So Gayatri is a very commonly used term for that mantra, but the actual name for that mantra is Surya Gayatri. So it's a Gayatri mantra for Surya. And as I told you, there are 24 aksharas. There are 24,000 verses in Ramayana. As I've told, Gayatri mantra is not supposed to be recited by everyone. It has to be taught by a guru in secrecy, and it has to be recited in secrecy. So what should the other people who are unable to chant this do? Valmiki has given us a very beautiful alternative. There are 24,000 shlokas. At every 1,000 shloka, what Valmiki has done is, the first shloka of the first 1,000, the first shloka of the next 1,000. So 1,001, 2,001, 3,001. If you read those shlokas alone, the first letters of all these Ramayana shlokas start with Tat Saviturvareniyam. The very first shloka is Tapasvadhyaya Niratam Ramam. It starts like that, Tapasvadhyaya. So the first akshara starts with Ta. Similarly, if you read the 1,001th shloka, it will have Sa. It will start with Sa. So if you read Ramayana, Valmiki is telling the essence of reading, or the benefits of reading Gayatri mantra are obtained by reading Ramayana. So that is one of the code that Valmiki has introduced into Ramayana, telling that just reading Ramayana gives you the benefit of reading Gayatri mantra. So it's a very crucial thing that we usually miss, but it is encoded in Ramayana. If you read any sort of stotra, like be it Bhagavad Gita, be it Ramayana, be it Mahabharata, you always need some sort of a benefit. What is the benefit of reading Ramayana? What is the benefit of reading Mahabharata? What is the benefit of reading Bhagavad Gita? So in every work, the Bhagavan, the God himself, gives us one promise that he makes to the people in each yuga. So Treta Yuga is when Rama appeared, Dwapara Yuga is when Krishna appeared. So every time the God takes a form, he makes a promise. What is the promise that Rama made during Ramayana? So he made a promise which is told in this mantra, Sakadeva Prapannaya Tavasmiti Chayachati Abhayam Sarvabhutebhyo Dadamyetat Vratam Mama. What he says is, if anyone surrenders to me without doubt, if anyone surrenders to me without question, I will make sure of their welfare. It's the same thing that he has told multiple times in Bhagavad Gita as well. Paritranaya sadhuna vinaya achaya dushkritam is where he's telling, I am protecting the good, I'll destroy the evil. Similarly, here Rama is telling, if you surrender to me without question, if you don't doubt my capabilities and surrender to me, I will look after you. You don't have to worry. So this is the promise that Rama makes in Ramayana. Ramayana is a very famous work which has been incorporated into multiple books. As kids, we might have read Amar Chitrakatha books on Ramayana. We have seen several serials that were telecasted. In COVID, I think a very famous thing that happened during COVID was Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana was recast and Mahabharata was recast, and the entire world was rewatching it again. And people who had watched it were rewatching. People who had not seen it was seeing it for the first time and getting the knowledge. So it is a very beautiful thing, and it's a very powerful thing that these creators have made Ramayana to present it to the audience who are unable to read the actual Ramayana, because visually seeing something interesting is always easier to learn and easier to see rather than opening a book, reading a shloka, understanding the meaning. So I totally appreciate the efforts that the creators of these works have made, but when you read the synopsis of any of these serials, any of these books, the claim that they make is for example, if you read the synopsis for Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, he says these are based on Valmiki Ramayana's Katha. Or there were, I think, many more. Like I think Hindi had so many more, Ramayana recreations, Siya Ke Ram, Srimad Ramayana. So many of them were presented, and all of them make the claim that these were based on the actual Valmiki Ramayana. But we have to understand that Ramayana is one of the most translated and recreated and adapted works in the world. If there have been instances where it has been found, like translations have been found in Angkor Wat, there have been translations found in Egypt, like all over, even in the Southeast Asia has so many adaptations of Ramayana. Even in our own Bharat Desham, we have Raghuvamsham, we have Srimad Ramayana Darshanam, we have so many other works that have been inspired, Ramcharitmanas by Tulsidas. All these are works that have taken inspiration from Valmiki Ramayana and have adapted and recreated Ramayana in a better way, or not in a better way, but in a different way. So whenever we all are researchers, we are doing our PhD or masters, we read papers. Whenever we want to create something novel, whenever we want to show that we are doing a novel research, we go to a base work, we go to a previous paper that's published in that field, we see what we can improve or what we can change. That's exactly what this is, with the exception that we can't make it better, we can change it to our liking. So Valmiki has given us the base work. We are using that, and then we can change it or modify it depending on our needs. So if my audience like war, they like to see battle, I'll focus more on the battle between Rama and Ravana. The other parts I'll probably make it a little bit more important, and I can reduce the amount of screen time for that. So that's exactly what all the other kavis and poets have done. They have taken the actual Ramayana written by Valmiki and they've modified it depending on what their audience felt was good. So I would like to take a few of these instances that are shown in these serials and try to see if they are actually presented the same way in Valmiki Ramayana. Okay, so that will be the next few slides and next few minutes of the talk. And here I would encourage the audience to tell whatever they know about a particular topic that I ask, and then we can see if the scene that you remember seeing, is actually presented in the Valmiki Ramayana or not. Is that fine with everyone? Again, this is in no way to tell you that you're wrong, because we have all seen the same Ramayana, we have all seen the same serial, and our knowledge is based on that. But it is also good. Again, it's not wrong to read Ramcharitmanas. It's good to know Ramcharitmanas, but also know what did the actual Valmiki Ramayana state. Okay? So, one of the first auspicious events that we see in Ramayana is Sita Kalyana, the marriage of Sita and Rama. Now, can someone tell me what happens during Sita Kalyana? Yeah.
Does Rama win him over winning an archery competition?
Archery competition. Okay. What can you can others add to the scene? Like, what is happening? What is the scene like? If you're making a film, what is the setup that you're creating?
So Sita has a swayamvar,
Okay.
where she chooses her wear. But the competition to win is that she has a bow gifted from Shiva.
Mhm.
And only Sita is capable of lifting the bow.
Okay.
And to find a suitable wear for her, the person who can lift that bow is the person who can marry Sita.
Okay.
So she goes a contest, and great things come from everywhere to lift it, but no one's able to lift it. And then Rama lifts it and breaks it. And then of course Parshurama comes in.
Okay. So that is. Does anyone have to add anything, remove anything, change anything to that? Like, I can repeat if people are not able to hear. So it was a Swayamvar organized by Sita and her father. So there is a bow which Sita only could lift, and people like kings from around the world were invited, and they all tried their luck. No one could lift it, and then Rama is finally the person who comes, lifts the bow, and then he marries Sita. Any changes, any different stories that we have heard or seen? Any names you want to give for the people who were there who were the kings who were there in the Swayamvara, other than Rama, of course? Ravana. Okay. So, if you go to the next slide. So, the first scene that we'll be discussing is Sita Kalyana. So, which is first correction right before we go in. It is Sita Kalyana, it's not Sita Swayamvara. So, Sita Kalyana is the marriage of Sita. Sita Swayamvara is like Draupadi Swayamvara, where there are contestants, there are prospective kings who are waiting to marry. There is a championship. Whoever wins the championship gets the hand of the Vadhu, the princess. So if you go to the next slide, here is a small scene from one of the serials that we come across. Again, there is no audio, I've just fast forwarded it just to get an understanding if we were on the same page. So okay, that is the divine, you can let it play. So that is the divine bow that they're talking about. So there are multiple kings who come in, who try to lift it. Yeah, one after the other they fail, and eventually finally the second protagonist in Ravana, he comes into the Swayamvara in this case. So he comes in, he tries his luck. And then it's Sita's desire not to marry him, so eventually that does not happen. And finally our protagonist Rama arrives, and right? Is this more or less a story that we have all seen? Any other changes, modifications? If you go to the next slide. I've taken a few scenes from different Ramayana. So this is Ramayana Sagar Ramayana, Siyake Ram, Srimad Ramayana. So all of them show nearly the same thing, where there are multiple suitors. They try their luck. In some cases Ravana comes, in some cases Rama and Ravana are face to face right there in the last scene if you see. So this is the general understanding. Sorry to break your heart, there is no Swayamvaram in Ramayana. In Valmiki Ramayana, there is no mention of a Swayamvara. So what actually happens in Ramayana, again, if you go to the next slide. So again, just for people who are interested, I have given some references here so that you can go back and read Ramayana if you do understand. So the reference number is, I'll explain it a little bit before we continue. So I have 1.50.12-25. So 1 is the first canto, 50 is the 50th chapter of that canto, and 12 to 25 is the number of shlokas. So those shlokas describe Sita Kalyanam in Ramayana. So those you can go to that particular shloka, read it, read the meaning, and understand if actually what I'm talking about is true, if I've misunderstood it, or if whatever we saw in the serials are not exact adaptations of Ramayana, but something more cynic, like it has a more appeal to the audience, so they made a small change. So I've taken images from Raja Ravi Verma's paintings. And the thing that I observed about Raja Ravi Verma's paintings are, he is very accurate to the detail of Valmiki Ramayana. As you can see, in the actual Ramayana, the scene is like this. Vishwamitra has Rama and Lakshmana along with him. Vishwamitra requested their help, not help, but he wanted them to come to help protect sacrifice that he was performing, a yajna he was performing. And after that, they all go to Mithila, the place where Janaka's kingdom is. And there, Vishwamitra asks Janaka, "O Janaka, you possess a bow that was given to you as a gift by Shiva to your predecessor, to your ancestors. And that has been given from generation to generation to protect. These are sons of Dasharatha, Rama and Lakshmana, and they're Kshatriyas. And they want to see and see the beauty of this Shivadhanas, so please bring it and show it to them." So on the request of Vishwamitra, Janaka orders 30,000 men. It is a very heavy, very hefty bow. 30,000 men drag it on a chariot. So you can see a small cart in that picture. So 30,000 men draw that Shivadhanas to the assembly where Janaka is hosting Vishwamitra. And there, when it's presented, so again, if you see some of these serials, Janaka tells, "Are there no suitors in this assembly who are capable of marrying my daughter? Will she die unmarried?" So he asks all these questions, and finally Vishwamitra says, Lakshmana, in some cases in Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, Lakshmana gets up, he's angry, he shouts, "Don't disgrace Rama in this assembly." That happens. In some cases, Vishwamitra is like, "Don't disgrace my students. Rama, you go and pick this bow, show Janaka their power." In Ramayana, that also does not happen. What happens is, Vishwamitra just says one statement, "Vatsa Rama, Dhanuh Pashya, O Rama, see the bow." That is the only instruction Vishwamitra gives. "O Rama, look at this bow." Rama looks at it, he salutes it, and he asks Vishwamitra, "Guru, can I lift this bow and see how it looks, how it feels?" Vishwamitra nods. He does not even say yes, he nods. And then he picks it up. He tries to string it, because as a Kshatriya, for example, if you are a mechanical engineer and I give you a drill, what will you do? You try to see if it is the torque setting, you try to see what all you can do with it. So as a Kshatriya, he is born and brought up with weapons. So whenever he is given a weapon, he wants to test it. So he tries to test it. He wants to see how strong it is, how you have the I don't know what it's called, the amount of pull that you have on a bow. So he wants to test that. So he tries to string the bow. And in the process, again, this was Shiva's Dhanush that, according to Ramayana, when Shiva tried to destroy Daksha Yajna back in when the Parvati Kalyana was happening, that bow was handed out. So it was a very old bow. So again, it was also Vishnu who was reincarnated as Rama. So when he tried to string that bow, the bow eventually broke. And then Janaka mentions that, "I had actually set a condition that whoever can lift this bow shall marry my daughter. And Rama has lifted the bow, so please marry Sita." So that is how Sita Kalyanam happens. There is no Sita Swayamvaram. Does that make sense? Again, some of these incidents you may feel like, have I seen it all wrong? It is not wrong. It's a different perspective of that particular director. He wants to showcase something which is more appealing to the audience. But we should also know what actual Valmiki Ramayana states. So this is the first scene. where again there is no court full of kings, there is no Swayamvara, it is just Rama coming with the Vishwamitra, looking at the bow, lifting it, and eventually winning Sita. So now let us look at a second scenario. So the next scene is Vanavasam, the exile of Rama. Now again, it's again a few questions that I'll ask. You'll give me some answers. We'll see how close we are to the actual Valmiki Ramayana. Who asks Rama to be sent to the exile? Again, don't worry if your answers are going to be wrong from now on. Answer, we'll see, because we all are learning. Yeah.
Kekai asked Darshanam to send Rama away to exile.
Perfect, correct. That is, according to Ramayana also, that is correct. Kaikeyi asks Dasharatha for the boon. Okay. What is the boon? Who should go to the forest? Only Rama? Okay.
Yes, only Rama.
Okay, only Rama. Very good. That's also correct. Lakshmana and Sita, they later on, they themselves, agreed to join, and they forced Rama to take them. And again, I've seen some scholars argue that Sita was forced by Rama to join and stuff. But if you read Ramayana, we should understand that we should not underestimate women, in any of our Puranas or Itihasas. We assume that Sita was helpless because Rama is going, according to Dharma, she has to go. No. There was no rule stating that she has to follow. She could have stayed in, because Urmila stayed back when Lakshmana went. So Sita could have stayed back. Actually, if you read the Ramayana, you'll be surprised that when Rama told you, don't accompany me, you stay in the palace and look after your father-in-law and mother-in-law. Sita says, I think when Janaka gave my hand to you, he did not realize that you are a female in the form of a male who is not capable to take care of me in the forest. This is really this session is in Sanskritam, it's called Upanyasam. Upanyasam is taking someone closer to the facts. And usually it's a seated arrangement where the speaker sits and talks, and the place where he sits is called Vyasapitham. And the rule is, on the Vyasapitham, you should always tell the facts. Don't modify the facts. Don't tell your interpretation. Tell what is in the Grantha that you're reading. So again, though it may seem very harsh, I'm just telling what Valmiki has said. So please don't get disturbed by it. This is the fact which you have to accept it. So again, Sita makes this very strong argument, but eventually Rama, he knows things have to happen in the future for which this is happening. So he agrees. Then again, eventually Lakshmana also tells, I'll join. The argument continues and finally they agree. Now tell me, when they decide to go to Vanavasa, how are they preparing? How do they prepare themselves? What do they do? So, because we know that just before this boon was asked by Kaikeyi, Rama was supposed to be coronated as the king. So there were preparations being made where his Pattabhisheka, his crowning ceremony had to happen. So now immediately, like the next day is when the Pattabhisheka has to happen, and this night is when he has been told that he has to go on exile. So after this information, how do the three people ready themselves, prepare themselves for the exile?
They shed their royal garments, wear simple clothes.
Very good. Any other additions, changes, modifications?
It's not exactly getting ready for the forest, but Rama gives away his slippers to Bharata, which he keeps on the coronation throne.
That is a fact, but that comes very much later on. So they've already gone on the exile, they've started the exile, and then that incident happens. So it is not part of this incident. Anything else?
They take their weapons and everything to the forest.
Very good. Okay. So I think the problem in the statement is what the madam at the end made about their garments. So according to Ramayana, what happens is Rama is again asked to go on an exile, and Kaikeyi's boon is very clear. He has to shed all his royal garments and go as a sannyasa, as a sannyasi into Vanavasa. So no royal things along with him. The only royal thing he has is the engagement or the marriage ring, because it is not Dasharatha's property. So everything belonging to Dasharatha had to be given away, since it was Janaka's property. That is the only thing he could keep, which was what he eventually gives to Hanuman to take it to Sita as the indication that it is Rama's ring. But then eventually after this vara has been asked, Rama sheds his royal garments, and then again we assume that it is simple garments, but the Sanskrita word for what they have to wear is called balkala. It is bark garments, and it is actually tree barks. So the sannyasis, they don't wear, like again, it depends on the current situation, but valkalam is actually bark garments, which is made from the bark of trees, which is why it is painful to wear. It can cut your skin, and the thread that they use to fasten this is called kusha grass. If you have seen kusha, it has a very sharp edge. If you slice it, it's like a saw grass. So when you tie it, it cuts through your skin. And that is the hardship of Vanavasa that Rama was supposed to go on. Since Rama was doing that, Lakshmana, who is always a follower of Rama, told, whatever you do, I'm doing. So he also left his ornaments, he also left his garments, he decided to wear the same bark garments as Rama. Seeing this, Sita also told, I will also not, go ahead with whatever I'm wearing, I'll wear the same garments. But Ramayana tells that Sita was brought up with too much care, that holding the bark garments itself made her started to cry. So she was unable to, get the feeling that she has to wear this for the remaining 14 years of her life. So, but in spite of that, since Rama was wearing and her husband was wearing, she decided I have to wear this, and she asks Rama, please, can you show me how to wear this? And Dasharatha starts crying. He tells, please don't do this. But again, Rama comes. She wanted to wear that. Rama came. He tied the bark garments to her, and they were all ready to leave. When Dasharatha was unable to withstand the sight of Sita in that garment, so he runs to Kaikeyi and tells, are you so heartless? What was your boon? Your boon was Rama should go to Vanavasa. Then why are you looking at Sita who is wearing these garments, and why are you quiet? Tell her that she does not have to do it. Kaikeyi keeps quiet. Eventually, when they're about to go into the chariot, then Dasharatha can't take it anymore. He calls Sita back. He orders her to wear all the royal garments, all the royal ornaments, and then leave. And not just that, before they go on the chariot, he calls the Minister of Treasury and tells, pack 14 years worth of garments, royal garments, 14 years worth of matching necklaces, earrings, and other ornaments, and send it with them. And who is going to carry all this? Lakshmana. Because when Lakshmana tells that I want to come with you, the only statement he makes is, Aham sarvam karishyami, I will do everything. I will cook, I will clean, I will build your house, I will carry everything. And some scholars, they make fun of it. When Sita heard, please take him with you. So because he'll do everything, I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean. Please take Lakshmana with us, that he'll do everything. So just that's a very comic thing that scholars talk about. But Lakshmana carries that much worth of crates of saris or whatever, the garments, ornaments, everything with him for 14 years, and they carry their weapons. So Sita does not go on to wear the bark garments or the sannyasin garments, as we see in so many serials depictions. But we see her wearing royal garments in Ravi Verma's art. Again, the references are shown here that you can look at for that. So this is another very big misconception that people don't realize. We take it for granted that, okay, everyone is wearing this thing because they're going to Vanavasa. Okay? The next thing, let us go into scene number 3. Sita Apaharanam. Again, as we progress, it will become a little more interesting. Again, I think the first two was probably the most surprising because we don't expect it. The next few, I think most of us will probably be able to guess what is coming up. So the abduction of Sita. So this is when Sita is going to be abducted by Ravana. So that is the incident. So again, descriptions, details.
I think I remember that I think Ram hears somebody calling or something, so he goes out to check, and then Lakshman also follows him because he thinks he has to. So he draws like a line around the house and says Sita can't cross it, and nobody from that house can go across the line. And then I think, and then Ravan comes and he's disguised as a sage or a sadhu, and he tries to cross it, but he's unable to. So then he asks Sita to come out and cross it, to give him alms or like food or something. And then when she does cross it, he takes her away.
Good. Okay. Any other details? Any other changes?
The Maricha is disguised as a golden deer and
Excellent point.
And Lakshman follows Rama because he hears Rama screaming or something, which is also the Maricha who's in his.
Very good point. Yeah.
When I watched the movie, there was like this giant eagle or something that was chasing Ravana when he abducted Sita.
Yeah. That's a good point, but again, that comes after after she has been abducted.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a valid point. So you're talking about Jatayu, the bird, who comes to save Sita after she's been abducted. Yeah.
I was curious about what sparked Ravana's interest in Sita, because you said the Swayam never happened.
Yeah, very good. Excellent point. That's a good deviation from here, but should we discuss that first before we go into this? Probably it makes sense to discuss the motive before we talk about the incident. So what happens is the three people, Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, as they go into Vanavasa, as they're doing their Vanavasa, they go from place to place. They go to Panchavati, they go to different places, and eventually they go to a place which is the camp of Ravana's Asuras. So there are 14,000 demons headed by Khara and Dushana. So Khara, Dushana, Trisharas, these three are the commander-in-chiefs of an army of 14,000 Asuras, and they are in this place. As when they are residing in this place, Shurpanakha is the cousin of Ravana, and she happens to pass by and see the beautiful and handsome Rama who is sitting in his hermitage, and she approaches him asking him to marry her. And Rama again tells, I'm devoted to only one woman and I can't take another wife. So he asks her to ask Lakshmana if he will take her as his wife. He also tells, I am devoted to Rama, I am not taking I'm not interested. So when she has been, again, what happens is they start sending her to each other. So Rama sends her to Lakshmana, Lakshmana sends her back to Rama. So after this happens, Shurpanakha is irritated. So she tells that, how dare you treat me like as though I'm a barter, like to just move me from one place to another. She looks at Rama and tells that, you are so fond of your wife, you think that you don't care about any other woman. She starts talking about her brother Ravana and how great he is. But when he does not listen, he goes to attack Sita in a fit of anger. When Lakshmana comes to block, and in the fight or in the tussle, he eventually cuts off her nose. And being disfigured, she runs to her brothers, that is Khara, Dusha and Tishiras, and asks them to take revenge. But Rama single-handedly kills all the 14,001 Asuras, and except for one. So he leaves one Asura so that he can go and inform Ravana of what has happened. So Ravana, having heard this, again by this time Shurpanakha has gone to Ravana because her brothers were defeated and killed. So when she brings up, rather than telling that go kill Rama, she tells Rama has a very beautiful wife called Sita, and she is even more beautiful than Mandodari, Ravana's wife, and she is perfect to be the queen of Lanka, so you should try to get her. And that is where he gets interested in Sita and wants to take her as a wife. So that is the motive for this incident. And as pointed out here, that yes, it was Maricha, one of the Asuras under Ravana, who takes a form of a golden deer in order to attract Sita's attention. Sita is attracted and she wants to play with the deer. And Rama, again in Ramayana it is stated that Rama did not say no. Lakshmana said, we are in a place that is filled with demons. I think there is no existence of a golden deer in any of our history. If we are seeing a golden deer now, it is not a good sign. It is probably some demon who has taken this form. He advises that to Rama. But Rama tells, Sita has not asked me anything. She has asked me something now. I'll go get it for her. So that is how the story starts. and he starts chasing Maricha, and he goes behind him, and eventually he realizes that it is actually a demon. So in order to kill him, he chases him further, and once he kills him, on his deathbed, Maricha takes the voice of Rama and calls out for help. He asks Lakshmana to come and help, and yes, so Lakshmana comes, and Lakshmana is called for help. So here is where the important deviation occurs. We have all seen this. We have all seen again the same thing in a different series. Before we go into this story, before we go into this story, the thing is, why did Lakshmana leave? Because Rama's instructions were clear. Whatever happens, don't leave the side of Sita. Whatever happens. So that is the thing. Lakshmana, when he hears Rama's voice through Maricha's Maya, he still does not want to go because he knows no one can harm Rama. He is confident. But Sita tells, no, he is calling for help, you have to go. When Lakshmana tells, don't worry, he's safe, Sita makes another very bold statement which causes another future event. She tells, Lakshmana, I realize what is happening here. She makes multiple claims. I'll go through each of them. She tells, you are probably an ally of Bharata. You were waiting for an opportunity for Rama to die so that you can amass and enjoy the wealth of the kingdom with Bharata. First claim. Second claim. What are you, are you happy that Rama is tortured? Are you happy that Rama is in pain? He's on his deathbed? Second claim. The third and the most devastating claim is, I think you're interested in me. This is in the Valmiki Ramayana. She tells, I think you are waiting for a chance where Rama is not around or Rama is no longer there, so that you are interested in me, but know that I am only devoted to one man, and I will rather die than be in a company of another. Once this statement is made, because the reason why I am bringing this up is when Lakshmana is taking leave from Sumitra, his mother, to go to Vanavasa, Sumitra makes a beautiful statement. She tells, during the Vanavasa, consider Rama as Dasharatha, consider Sita as Sumitra, and be their son. So that is what she asks Lakshmana to be, to serve Rama and Sita as their parents. And even later on we see that, we'll come to that point later. So when Lakshmana hears this statement from Sita, she tells, good-natured women should never make such statements, but you have made this statement and you have brought your own ruin to yourself. And I can't help it, but having heard this, I can no longer stay in this place. I will only come back and I will only see you when you are along with Rama only. So that is a statement he makes before he leaves, before he takes leave. So he tells that I'll only look at you, Sita Mata, when you are with Rama. That is the only time I'll see you, or else I won't see you. So he leaves. And when he is leaving, this misconcept of Lakshmana Rekha comes into play. And in the Ramayana, there is no Lakshmana Rekha. There is no Lakshmana Rekha. All he does in Ramayana is, he tells, O gods of the forest, I leave Sita in your care. That is the only statement he makes, and he leaves. So he does not invoke a god, he does not draw a line, he does not do any such thing. The second thing that we have seen in most of these serials is, again, once the line is drawn, Ravana tries to step, he gets a shock. He burns, he feels a burning sensation, he takes back his step, and then somehow he makes Sita cross that line. If Lakshmana's Rekha was strong enough to do that, why wasn't it used in the final battle between Rama and Ravana? Again, a plot hole if you look at it. But again, let us not worry about it. What is stated in Mahabharata, there is no Lakshmana Rekha. Again, after that is, did I miss something?
Ramayana.
Oh, sorry, Ramayana. Okay, yeah. When I'm in the flow, I make some mistakes, so please correct me if you can. The thing that happens is, again, Ravana takes the form of sage. He comes, and if you see these serials, Ravana tries to cross, he's unable to cross, and finally Sita crosses. But here, if you see the actual Ramayana, Sita, when she sees the sage, who is essentially Ravana, she calls him inside. She says, please come in, please sit. She invites him rather than trying to avoid, like, oh no, I can't cross this line. She does not do any of that. She rather tells, please come and sit. And then she tells, I will give you the food that you want. Again, Ravana does not, if you read the Ramayana, the other disturbing thing is, when Ravana in the form of a Brahmin tries to talk to Sita first, he does not. A sadhu should be like, Bhavati Bhikshandehi, give me some alms. He starts describing the beauty of Sita. Oh, you have such beautiful eyes. Oh, you have such beautiful hair. That is how the sage version of Ravana describes Sita. And she starts talking. But Sita is like, I should not talk, ill to a Brahmana. So she starts telling all her life story. She did not even ask for it. She starts saying, oh, I was the daughter of Janaka. I had a very beautiful life. I lived happily in Ayodhya. But now my mother-in-law Kaikeyi, she sent me to Vanavas. She tells all that to Ravana. And eventually Ravana is like, okay, I'm done. I'm Ravana. Do you take me as your wife? She tells no. He picks her up and he leaves. That is how Ramayana describes Sita Apaharana. So this is the other major thing that we see. Let us quickly go to the next one. Construction of the bridge. How many of us have seen this? So, haven't we seen this? What is the incident here?
They write Ram on rocks and they put them together all the way to Lanka and
Very good.
walk on it.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, yeah, go ahead.
I think the reason for writing the name was for the rocks to float, probably. Yeah, and that's why they just wrote Ram on each rock so that it stays.
They sat next to the ocean and prayed for a few days, asking the ocean to give way, but they didn't know what to do. So finally, when Lakshman, I don't know if it was Lakshman or Ram, they got angry and they lost patience. So then they pulled their string and said that I will dissolve you, like I'll get rid of you. Then the ocean got scared and came and said that no, write Rama's name and then the rock will float. That's the boon I give you.
Yeah. Okay, so that is again a very commonly known story. The real story goes like this. The first part is very true, that yes, they come to the banks. Again, Hanuman has come back with information that Sita is in Lanka. So now they have to cross the ocean, the vast ocean of 100 yojanas to reach Lanka. And there is a vast expanse of water that have to cross. So Rama sits with Nirjalopavasa is what he does. So not even a drop of water he takes for, I think, I don't remember the exact days, but I think 3 to 5 days is what I remember. So he does that, but then Samudra Deva does not appear to give any sort of solution. So in an anger, Rama invokes the Brahmastra with the fit of anger, telling that you don't let me pass, I will drench you. Because it is according to Raghuvamsha, the family of Rama, Sagara, one of the previous ancestors of Rama, it's told to have dug the earth and then when the rains fell, it filled up and created the oceans. So he tells, my ancestor created you and you are not respecting me, that is not acceptable. So he invokes the Brahmastra and he tells that I will drain your waters. But then Samudra Deva, who is very scared of what is going to happen, appears and tells that please don't do this, please revoke your weapon. But Rama tells, once I've already invoked Brahmastra, I can't do anything, so give me a solution. So he tells, direct your weapon to another place called Drumakulya, where there are a lot of demons, and if you release this astra there, the hypothesis that this ocean is not silent, it has waves. So if something is floating, won't the bridge continue to move? So if you look at that aspect, that does not make sense. If you read Valmiki Ramayana, again, the reason why Ramayana is called a historic itihasa is because it's not something that is just a story that is conceived. It is a story that actually happened. Valmiki describes the engineering feat of Setu. It's currently called Rama Setu, but it's actually Nala Setu. That was the original name because Nala built it. Later it became the Adams Bridge when Britishers came. And then in recognition of Rama, it's now named as Rama Setu. But originally in Valmiki Ramayana, it's called Nala Setu. If you read the Ramayana, there it is beautifully described that they found So you know what actually, okay, this is another video that you can continue to watch as, was it a video? Yeah, I think that was a video. You can continue to watch that video as I go through the actual Valmiki Ramayana. So what actually happens is, the ocean has several geographical features. One of them is called a shoal. A shoal is essentially a part of the seabed which is raised compared to the surroundings. So the shoal is created as and when the waves move from one place to the other, and it is told that at the time when this Setu Bandhanam was happening, there was a shoal that was created between India and Sri Lanka, which was high enough that they could actually bring trees. So if you read the actual Ramayana, he explicitly describes that they brought trunks, like huge tree trunks, they planted it into the seabed on that shoal, and once they had a base with mountains and stones, they put more stones on top of that, and then the bridge was constructed. It was not a floating bridge. It was a properly erected bridge which had a very clear base with stones, wood, everything, and then on top of it they put the actual stones on which they build the bridge. So if you go to the next slide, so that is the ridge that was created, and on top of that, once they had made a very strong base, there was nothing floating, it was a solid bridge. Then they put actual stones that they could walk on. It is told that it was 10 yojanas wide and 100 yojanas long. And Ramayana tells that, Valmiki tells every day how many yojanas they built, and all that is mentioned in the Ramayana, which is presented in these shlokas. So it was not an imaginative bridge, it was an engineering feat, it was an actual bridge with supports and a very strong base. So,
what proof do you have that Lanka was Sri Lanka or something?
that's a good point, but I think what is the proof that Ayodhya is currently in its, like where we assume it to be? So again, there are several scholars who have given us reasons why the Lanka is where we believe it is in Sri Lanka. And there are temples in Sri Lanka which are dedicated to the Agni Pariksha. So when Sita performed the Agni Pariksha later on in the story, there are temples dedicated to her where she's actually shown performing the Agni Pariksha. And there are also the description of Lanka that is given in Valmiki Ramayana, some of the remnants of the mountain peaks. So there, Valmiki gives a very vivid description of the Trikuta mountains. So there are a range of mountains with 3 sharp peaks. So there are certain references to the descriptions in Ramayana which match with the current geological features in Sri Lanka. So that is one of the reasons how they piece together the geography that is told in Valmiki Ramayana to the current day Lanka, Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So this will be the last scene of the discussion. Again, if you read, if you see the serial and parallelly read the Ramayana, you'll probably find so many more such deviations. But again, these are some of the main things to give you a head start, to propel you in the direction of reading Ramayana, so that your interest starts to grow. So the final thing is Ravana Vadham, the death or the vanquishing of Ravana. Any details, discussions?
Rama shoots his bow. Hanuman asks his dad, who is the god of wind, to direct the arrow so that it hits, I think, some bowl that like Ravana swallowed to make him like immortal or something.
Okay. Okay.
And then it hits him and he dies.
Okay.
Ravana had this superpower that he would have 10 heads, and if they shoot one head, he will regrow another head. So Rama first shoots an arrow and cuts off his head, and then another head grows, and then he does it again, and then his head keeps growing, and then Rama will not have a solution, and then he will ask somebody for help, and then they will say, do not aim for his head, aim for his heart. And then he shoots his heart and he dies.
Okay.
Was it Vibhishan who said about the bear's appointed?
Okay.
And is it the heart or the stomach? Because
Okay.
I remember it as stomach.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, Vibhishan comes and says that Ravan's life energy stored in his belly button.
Yes,
And
belly
you
button.
need to shoot the belly button.
Okay, yeah. So these are all variants of the Ramayana that we have seen. So here, the most common thing is this. No, this is just a picture. The next one I think should be, yeah, this is a video. So again, as you can see, again, there are some versions of Ramayana which go into a lot more different approach. If you see this. This is a very interesting idea that this person came up with. Again, so there's nothing wrong in creating something different, but we just have to know that it is different. So again, there are a lot of stories revolving around it. Again, most of you have kind of told some of them that Ravana had a bone, that his life's energy is stored in the belly button, the stomach, the heart, whatever be the place. But we should know what actual Ramayana says. In the Ramayana, there is just one arrow and done. So what actually happens is, it's neither Vibhishana, it is neither Jambavan, it's neither nor Hanuman who comes and tells, because how will Jambavan or Hanuman know of Ravana's weakness? It should either be Vibhishana or someone from there. So if you see the Ramayana, when Vibhishana comes and asks refuge under Rama, the first question that Rama asks is, what are the strengths and weaknesses of Ravana? And Vibhishana says, Ravana is very strong. He does not tell any weakness. He does not tell any weakness in the Ramayana, which indicates that he is not weak at all. But later on, when the battle between Rama and Ravana, so Vibhishana does not tell essentially that there is some sort of weakness in Ravana. Eventually, during the battle of Rama and Ravana, Ravana is fighting from a very magnanimous chariot that he has, but Rama is fighting from the ground. So Indra sends his chariot and his charioteer Matali to help Rama. When Matali comes and he is fighting, the fight goes on as one of you pointed out, that he cuts off one head, the head regrows. That's all there in the Ramayana. And Rama is exhausted, then Agastya comes, he gives the Aditya Hridaya Stotra, and it rejuvenates Rama, all that happens. And eventually, Matali asks one question. Rama, why are you playing with Ravana? You know how to kill him. Why aren't you killing him? Simple. And then he tells, you know what to do, invoke the Brahmastra. So Rama, all he does is, he tells, okay Matali, I will do as you say. He invokes the Brahmastra, hits Ravana, Ravana dies. So that is the only death of Ravana that is mentioned in the Ramayana, and there is no other magnanimous stories around it. So again, this was a small effort on my side to involve you more into reading Ramayana, to inspire you to read Ramayana. Because Ramayana, as I told, it's an itihasa. We should not look at it as a mythological story. It is a factual story that happened. One last question before we leave. Bhagavad Gita is a grantha where Krishna and Arjuna are having a conversation. Bhagavata is the story where Shuka Muni is telling the Bhagavata to Parikshit. Who is telling Ramayana to whom, or what is the conversation happening between? Whom is the conversation happening between?
To Lava and Kusha, Valmiki, sorry. Yeah, Valmiki narrates the Ramayana.
So, Valmiki is narrating the Ramayana to Lava and Kusha. Any other? There have been other stories where Hanuman is telling this when a Bhakta later on asks after the Ramayana. There are multiple things. But according to Ramayana, this is happening in the court of Rama. Lava, Kusha are narrating Ramayana to Rama himself. So they have already heard the Ramayana from Valmiki, and they have been invited by Rama to come and narrate the story, because they have come to know that the Valmiki has written a beautiful poem, and so they invite Lava Kusha to their court, and he starts narrating the story of Ramayana, and that is where the Ramayana Katha comes. So I hope you all have kind of gotten inspired to read Ramayana a little bit. So with that, I take a leave. I hope that I've probably taken a lot more time than I had asked for, but Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्याय्येन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः को ब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम. Once again, a happy Deepavali to all of you. Ram Ram Ram.